Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Here today we will be going over a ton of different things, so make sure that you guys kind of listen through what I have to say. We're gonna go from things talking about what I expect to happen, talking about units that I want to see awakening, some of the events and things that are in the game that it should be coming out with all of this celebration and stuff like that. We're just gonna go a lot of different ways. This video is about a week in the making, so I hope you guys do enjoy it nonetheless. Hit that subscribe if you're new, and let me know what you think will come, whether it's units, events, what you want to see in the 4-year anniversary for the game. So we are getting into that period. The 4-year anniversary should take place starting, honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and point this out. It could start, some of that stuff could start tonight. Pretty much it should start tonight, like the countdown, maybe even the ticket banner, which I'll talk a little bit more about. But anyways, it's 29th, 30th is when we're going to start seeing a lot of this stuff really take place, because we're going to get close to the actual day of the anniversary. For Global, of course, that is in July. So Global might have something coming out, don't know, but not really caring about that right now. Anyways, so 4.2.0 did come out. This is a big deal because, of course, the Super Saiyan 4 icon, the 4-year anniversary, writing down there as well. And they also do make mention of a brand new active skills mechanic that is coming into the game. I'll leave a video down below. You guys can check out going over that. But anyways, that being said, active skills, just go ahead and consider the fact that that should become something that they utilize with the new units that we might talk about as well too. So we do have a confirmed. We're going to go over the confirmed stuff first, by the way. Then we're going to transition back to some of the other stuff that I personally thought up. But anyways, confirmed courtesy of V-Jump. SS4 Goku physical type is going to be free to play. You guys are going to get him via logging in. A Godstone number 7, not times 7. That was a typo there. They also do have, I believe, 4 Dragon Stones a day. Again, and they also mention here that the anniversary on 1/30, so literally about a week and a couple of days or so, give or take, will also be GT themed. Now that's important because most of what I mention here is GT themed. Now I've seen a lot of people say, well, last year was kind of like Namek themed, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't really matter. I'm guessing that they're going to mainly just stick to GT stuff for this one. They did do some Namek stuff last year, whatever the case is, if I recall correctly anyway. But that doesn't have any bearing on what they might do in the future. So that's confirmed. Also confirmed, we have B-Pan, the original one of the game, finally going LR. So she's awakening past the TUR. You'll probably get her medals from her own event anyway, the stamina event. So it might take a while to get those medals nonetheless. Also, we do have Goku Jr. getting an easy A. So that's nice to see as well, because he really needed it. He probably was the worst one among that group. Courtesy of I Seriously, we do have the brand new Shenron that is in the game, and he's going to apparently grant a wish or something like that. So we do have this. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. We're going to come over here. Also, we do have these brand new items that are coming into the game. Now, they might not be items you actually use. They could be ones that you exchange for in the Baba Shop, whatever the case is. I believe Hydros told me that they have the same item code, though, as a regular support item, so consider that as well. But I don't know much about these, but they obviously will be a part of the celebration. So moving on. Right here is a video from Dokkan Info where we talk about, or where he goes over, excuse me, not really talking about, where he just basically shows the animation for the Shenron. You start off with the Dragon Balls and the Dragon Ball screen like the other Shenrons, and then this guy pops up. I'll leave this down below. You guys can check it out. No mention on like wishes or whatever the case is. I'll actually ask Gorish if you can translate this, but I'll leave it down below. You guys can check it out. Courtesy of Dokkan Info, of course. And here's the video I mentioned earlier if you guys do want to check that out. This video is where I go over the active skills that are said to be coming to the game and the animation for said active skills. Now, I also want to go over this really quick because this unit has not awoken to an LR. I do expect it to become an LR, so consider that as well. During the anniversary period, this guy should awaken to an LR, probably the Turtle School one that's from the Legendary Election. And unless I could potentially have missed some sort of reveal date for when he becomes an LR. If I did, forgive me. Maybe you guys know about that. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and mention him because he's worth mentioning. Last couple of things is, again, we do have that GT motif continuing. This Goku here from, I believe, the 20 million login downloads bonus, 20 million downloads login bonus, excuse me, is going to be awakening, and they should be giving him out again because I don't know why they would awaken him otherwise. And we do have this End of Z transitioning into GT, of course. This is basically, they're basically both the same thing. End of Z transition to GT. Anyways, Pan for the World Tournament. And the ticket banner from last year, this was important because this is an example of what it looked like last year, some of the units that were featured and things of that nature. They gave tickets, I believe, daily. And the ticket banner, this one came out literally almost a year to the day. So it should be coming up tonight, tomorrow night, whatever the case is in the game. So let's go ahead and get into some of the other stuff here. Okay, so here we go. We're taking a look at the GT link because this is actually very important because, like I said, I do think they're going to continue just mainly with GT stuff. That doesn't mean that all they're going to do is going to be GT-centric. They could do other things, but again, I think they're going to mainly stick to this. And this is also really interesting because this Bulla, just awoken in the game. She is a very, very good unit. 3 key, 40%, 30% dodge rate outside of Peppy Gals for the most part anyway. You know, if you could potentially run another one with her is why I said for the most part. She's really good. So I think that she is a foreshadow to things to come. I really do still expect a full-on GT category or something of that nature that at least grabs more of these units. I mean, if we look at guys like this, he's not in any GT-centric category. There's a number of characters like that that aren't really in GT-centric categories. They're just kind of all over the place, so consider that too. Anyways, that being said, we're going to go ahead and transition into some of the units that are currently existing in the game that I do think should awaken finally as part of the celebration. You guys kind of already saw it, but I'll go ahead and start with this man here. So this is Goku. I'm just going to go ahead and rattle off really, really quick predictions as well. They're very baseless, so consider that too. There's a whole lot of considers here. Anyways, I'm going to say 3 key and, well, 2 key 70% to all stats. Leader skill, supreme damage, attack raise on super attack. They could give him immense. That'd be really nice. He'll keep the 9 or above mechanic, but he'll probably get 80% attack and defense and maybe 3 more key when key meter's at 90, or 9, excuse me, 9 from the start of the turn. Maybe a further attack increase afterwards. But he should totally awaken. This is like a year 1 unit in the game, I believe. And he has a really solid key multiplier. 140 is not bad, so he should be really, really useful, and he should awaken finally in this celebration. Now, this is one I threw in. This is a Bob Shop exchange unit, so you guys should be able to awaken this unit, hopefully, in this celebration. And it's another free option that could be respectable, right? Anyways, so here we go. We have this GT Trunks, another very old unit that deserves to awaken. At this point, I feel like he will. I feel like he will. He's one of those units that still has one of those multicolor elemental leader skills. And there aren't a whole lot of those that haven't awoken yet that were actually notable. I can't really mention another one that's really notable. I'm sure you guys probably can rattle a few off. But anyways, totally should awaken in this period. Metarildo, another unit that should awaken. Whether it's during this period or not, these are units that need awakenings to be relevant. Again, Metarildo used to be very, very good. Still has the makings of a unit that can be very good. All he needs is the start of the turn, percentage-based defensive boost, a slight attack increase, still keep the lowering, and he's good. So that's what I'll say for him. They could potentially change him to percentage base as well, but if they give him something like 30,000, 40,000 defense at the start of the turn, that's fine. That might be too much, to be honest. But still, that'd be really, really good. Also for the Trunks, I'm going to say he's going to get 15% per orb, attack and defense. Very, very quick and easy. So then we go over here. Now, there are a lot of GT-centric SRs that are summonable that should, you know, awaken. Because they're just here for no reason. Like, this baby probably has the most likely chance of awakening. He could be pretty good, but there's a number of them. But the most intriguing one to me was the Pan, because she has a 3-key passive. She could be a really, really good support unit. They might add another element on there, give her, you know, 20% attack and defense, but she could be a really, really good, you know, free unit that you could summon potentially. Well, not free unit, but SR units are going to be very likely. Also going to be featured on banners from time to time. She should awaken, in my opinion. And then if they really want to, they can awaken these units that are from the previous GT story events. That would be a good idea to me. Give them TURs, make them more relevant. Add attack. At the time, maybe adding attack would have been a little bit too much for free units. But 3-key, 30% attack and defense, I don't think it's too much to ask from a free unit now, especially when it's restricted to an element, so tech type. So moving on, if they really, really want to, I just want to point this out as an idea. The Pan and Rildo, AGL and Extreme AGL types, are both GT-centric. They could very much so awaken them. So when it comes to Rildo, though, a lot of people are going to just flat out assume that they're mainly going to stick to Shadow Dragon Saga stuff, which I wouldn't disagree, but I didn't want to discount anything from prior to that, right? Like Baby Saga and stuff like that. It's still possible that some of these units just awaken, whether it's a rebirth, courtesy of a story event, whatever the case is. Maybe they reprint an older story event. I don't know, but it's still a possibility. So we're going to transition now into some of my huge predictions. All right, so first thing I want to point out is I think it's fairly obvious. I don't want to say obvious. I think it's very likely that they do produce a brand new GT story event. Here are the GT events in the game. As you see, they have the Baby Saga, the Black Star Dragon Balls, the Baby Saga Finale, the Android 17, Super 17 pretty much. They have a Hero's Legacy, but there is no the Shadow Dragon Saga there. So I think that's very likely, which of course could come with more free-to-play options for Shadow Dragon units most likely. We'll come back to that because there are a few things I want to mention about them. Now, another thing that's been in the game for a while but hasn't made its way out yet is this. So this is the Super Saiyan Blue Goku animation. This came into the game, was put in the game's files whenever they put the SSG animation and all that, whenever they redid it to where the characters fly in with you and all of that. So I don't know of a better time to put this. Unless this was just scrapped or they're saving it for something else, I don't know of a better time than to put this in the game. So consider that too. That's something that could potentially happen. Also, remember how I was talking about the end of Z stuff with the Pan and with the Goku? I think it's fairly certain that we're going to get a Oob. Why? Because Oob is the only one that's missing from that equation. Whether it's a Dokkan Fest exclusive Oob or not, I don't think it would be. It could potentially be an LR Oob. I don't know why they wouldn't give an LR to Oob if they have like Hercule as an LR, Pan as an LR, B-Pan of all things. Like they have characters that aren't quote-unquote deserving of being an LR, so there's no reason why they wouldn't make Oob one, even if it's a free-to-play one, whatever the case is. We are going to most likely get a brand new Oob. I feel very, very certain with that because of the End of Z stuff, and you can't have End of Z without Oob, so really the only question is whether it's going to be Young Oob, Teen Oob, or Maj Oob, but I do think there's going to be a brand new Oob. Why? Because GT takes place with him as well, and he is also, I don't know if, yeah, he's actually a part of that saga. I'd have to go back and check it out, but I do know this one at least has Shadow Dragon Saga. So anyways, moving on. Speaking of Shadow Dragons, I do think they're going to finally take the opportunity to produce some new Shadow Dragons. Why? Because these are totally worthless. Oceanus was the most relevant one, back when sealing was super important in the game. And I'd argue it's still pretty good, but you just can't do it most of the time. And then when you take a look at the actual Shadow Dragons, right, the rest of them, you have Nova, and then the Omega Shenrons, and a Sin Shenron. And then another Sin Shenron, technically the AGL one. But the rest of them are all literally just worthless. There's no real reason to run them, and most of them aren't even summonable. Ice isn't even summonable, like stuff like that. I do think that some of these are going to awaken, like Ice could potentially awaken. They could drop a summonable Ice, by the way, because I don't know why they wouldn't if they have a Nova. Consider that too. But if they do drop Ice, he's going to be one of the better ones in general because, for one, limited selection. Also because Nova is so freaking old as well. So that's something that is most likely going to happen. I think that either they're going to drop new summonable Shadow Dragons, whether they're SRs, whatever the case is, that could potentially awaken to URs. I don't know. But it'll also bolster the Shadow Dragon Saga category, which is a category that really doesn't get touched at all. It's been touched, what, one time, I think, since release, and that was for Full Power Goku. They don't touch this category at all. So that would be a nice thing to see. And speaking of this category, I do really, really, really want them to start the 3-key 70% leader EZAs. Now, this is a very, very, very interesting direction to take for EZAs because of the fact that Vegito and Broly stand the possibility of becoming incredibly busted. I had a friend of mine do some preliminary calculations for Broly, giving him the, percentage-based increase instead. And long story short, man, he is going to be an incredibly powerful unit because of the multitude of attacks that he does. So, it's going to be really interesting to see how this works. AGL Super Vegito is going to wind up being better than Physical. If he gets a start of the turn boost, it wouldn't even be close, really, because he's already a better tank. And this is just interesting. So, do I think they're going to make this man better than the Physical? No, I don't think that's going to happen. And he really can't be because the Physical is a main meta leader right now. So, keep that in mind. But it would still be nice to see this man EZA and kind of just rein us into that new group of EZA units that are going to happen from Dokkan Festival exclusives. But if they want an EZA unit that's not a festival exclusive, who better than Sin Shenron? Give this man 100% at the start of the turn attack and defense, SA level 15, of course, and I will be good. He doesn't need anything else. I don't care. He'll probably get 3 keys, 70% to physical types, whatever. But give the man that, please. Just give him that. Just give him that. And that's all he needs. If he wants to keep attack plus 100 and lower enemies' attack and defense by 30%, that's fine too. It's not as good as having natural defense, but I'll take it over what he has now. Reducing defense is utterly bad in the game as it stands right now. Maybe they do implement some sort of big changes with the active skills. And speaking of which, when it comes to the active skills, do expect new gameplay modes. There was some data mines that did say that the gameplay of the game is going to get overhauled. So that could either mean new gameplay modes or something akin to that. Now, for the final part, I saved the best for last. Here we go. So this image was floating around for a while. This art looks really good, by the way. It's probably fake because it hasn't been sourced back to anything. And when you can't source anything, most of the time it's fake. But the concept though, is what matters the most. SS4 Goku and Vegeta. So I don't know what order they're going to do the anniversary banners in. I don't know how they're going to handle it. I don't know what they're going to do with that. They could do dual Dokkan Fest for LRs, whatever the case is. I don't know. But what I do know is I expect brand new SS4 Goku and Vegeta cards. They could finally take the opportunity to produce an SS4 Goku, who was a part of the legendary election, and I believe got second place in that vote, by the way. So it's interesting that they've waited on that for a long time too. I know that we recently got the full power Goku, but he doesn't count because really what this would be doing would be producing another Goku with just the name Super Saiyan 4, basically the same name as the STR Goku SS4. If you didn't know, STR and Tech Goku do not have the same name. One is full power, the other one is not, so they can be ran on the same team together, and that would not change if this one comes in and replaces the name of the STR Goku, who's still really, really good. Also, since we are looking at these two units, it is 100% possible that we get a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta card LR as well. Now, the last little thing is there were those figures that came out that kind of, in a lot of people's eyes, kind of foreshadowed what we would be getting. Just consider this before we get out of here. They could do something weird where they go SS4 Gogeta, SS4 Vegito, dual Dokkan Fests. I think a lot of people would really like that. It's more likely that if they do something like that, right, where it's Fusion LRs, dual Dokkan Fest, it's probably going to be SSB Vegito. The reason why is SS4 Vegito comes from Dragon Ball Heroes, and long story short, according to Goresh anyway, that iteration of Heroes has not been made into the game that is coming out worldwide. So that could produce licensing issues when it comes to the global version of the game. Just because Dragon Ball Heroes is coming out doesn't mean that it immediately means that we're going to get every single thing in global. And if it's a Dokkan Fest unit, it has to be translatable to global as well to consider that too. So that is ultimately it, guys. Hopefully this wasn't too long. Let me know what you guys think is coming. Huge shout out to everybody I sourced in this video. I'm going to try to leave links down below. Don't freaking kill me if I forget. But anyways, let me know. Hope that you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch all of you in the next one.